Domenico's on the wharf, and they showed up on the south side of the bay today, and that probably brought a different character for folks on the peninsula after a couple of sunny days. The return of some low clouds certainly can make a difference. Although Santa Cruz, another day in the upper 70s. We've been like 80, 79 to 81 like the last 3 days in a row in Santa Cruz. It's been pretty toasty there. Monterey, even with the sunshine, you've been cooler because the winds have been off the water. The water temperature, because of all the wind, by the way, over the last week, it's pretty chilly. The sea surface temperature, I average out 7 different buoys in the bay, around 55 degrees right now, maybe even lower, 54, just due to the wind. The wind causes upwelling in the water. That cooler water from the depths returns to the surface and makes things chilly. And the wind coming off that water, ooh, it's got a bite to it if you're right next to it, that's for sure. Now the winds will die down a little bit over the next couple days, so we can expect those sea surface temperatures to increase a little bit. So we take a look at our satellite radar picture. Not much going on out there tonight. There's a few high clouds off to the northeast. There is a weak disturbance here, so we're getting a little bit of lift, enough to make some clouds. It's associated with this bigger upper level trough. The parent low is still sitting in the northern Rockies. More severe weather in the plains today. High pressure off to the west, but a bit of a pattern change coming for us. You know, we had this trough pass by. That's what really stirred up the winds this weekend, but also helped mix out our marine layer. Marine layer will reestablish itself and become more stable in the coming days, and that'll make it more likely for us to see some clouds sticking around on the coast during the afternoon hours. So as we look ahead, we're going to continue to see a trough here on the west coast. In fact, it almost cuts off a weak low here over central California tomorrow. And that's why we'll have another round of thunderstorms, I think, up in the Sierra Nevada. Not here locally. Might see a couple poofy cumulus clouds over the Diablo range tomorrow, but that's about all from that as far as that's concerned. So tomorrow at the coast, but likely to see a more stable marine layer develop as the ridge tries to kind of push down on things from the west. We have weaker onshore winds, which doesn't mix as much, and also a slight increase in that low level moisture as well. So all those things working in favor of more clouds on the coast. Whereas inland areas, as the trough begins to weaken in the coming days, will start to warm up. So we're going to warm up 3 to 6 degrees aloft tomorrow. On the coast, you might actually be cooler, especially Santa Cruz, because the last 3 days in a row, we've had downsloping northwesterly winds in Santa Cruz, which has brought drier air all the way to the coast, and that compressional warming gets the temperatures into the 80-degree range. You're not going to have that tomorrow. You'll have an onshore breeze, so it's going to be significantly cooler in Santa Cruz. Still might make the 70s, but that's about it. And we'll show you that in the 7-day the zone forecast in a moment. But I want to mention we have some changes coming tomorrow, and as we head through the rest of the week, we're really kind of going to stay in between the northerly or the active weather pattern to the north and the subtropical ridges. So that should keep us pretty close to normal. There's potential for some inland heat at times, but for the most part, not a lot going on. We'll talk about a little bit more in the 7-day forecast in a moment. Let's get to that future track, that short-term forecast. And as we look overnight tonight, again, low clouds eventually filling in tonight, probably pushing into the valleys as well. So far, reality a little bit behind the model solution as far as coverage and timing is concerned. So we'll call it mostly cloudy to start tomorrow morning as opposed to maybe fully overcast. That's for the coast. And then mostly clear inland, a few low clouds possible in the valleys, but maybe not all that much. Then quickly as we head into the afternoon or late morning, early afternoon, the sun will mix all the clouds out of the valleys and push the clouds back to the coast. With that said, it looks like we're going to hold on to some of the cloud cover on the coast tomorrow, especially on the east shore of the bay. So Moss Landing, you were sunny for most of the day today. You might have clouds for most of the day tomorrow. Same in Marina, maybe even all the way up to, say, Rio Del Mar. So the east shore looking a little cloudy. We should clear out in Santa Cruz and Capitola. Maybe a little slice of sunshine in Monterey tomorrow as well, but that east shore going to stay a little bit on the cloudier side. The other thing is winds much lighter than we've been experiencing in recent days. There's those thunderstorms over my head up in the Sierra Nevada tomorrow afternoon. Clouds tomorrow night should be thicker than they were tonight. Here's my zone forecast. We're going to start things off in Santa Cruz County. Look at the contrast. So really warming up. 89 tomorrow in Boulder Creek, but 73 in Santa Cruz. You were close to 80 today. Capitola back into the 60s tomorrow. You were in the mid to upper 70s today. So definitely cooler out there. East shore of the bay, low 60s in Castroville, Marina. A little bit warmer in Watsonville. You should get a little bit of sunshine tomorrow. Salinas, same thing, but cooler than today. However, Hollister about where we were today. Gilroy, Morgan Hill, warmer than today. So again, a little cooler on the coast for many areas. We got some middle areas where we're not going to change, and then the far inland areas warm up. 89, close to 90 in Morgan Hill. On over to the peninsula, upper 50s to low 60s, a little on the cool side tomorrow. So Yeah, not all that warm. Should be 66 this time of year in Monterey, so definitely below normal. That has a good portion of it to do with those cool water temps. And then near the coast, we're in the low 70s, and then we get to 80s by Greenfield. A few spots, maybe Bradley hitting 90 tomorrow afternoon. So here's the 7-day forecast. Coastal areas a little cool for the next several days. We should bump up toward the weekend. Looks like the winds get picking back up again somewhere in that Wednesday to Friday time frame. We'll say that. So we might have one day where we're warmer than normal, otherwise pretty seasonable weather after these next couple of cooler days. And inland area is also pretty seasonable for the next couple of days, and we'll see those temps jump up with the ridge trying to push in from the south later on in the week. No rain in the forecast, Max, outside of any coastal drizzle possible out of these low clouds.